Today, we are starting a new podcast series discussing various rating systems related to human health as well as sustainability and health of the building environment, looking for synergies between the two. And our first guest is Ethel Rubio. Ethel is the owner and the principal at Ethel Rubio Associate AA, consulting firm specializing in construction, management, and strategic outreach since 2017. But her career path spans over 30 years and includes work in architecture, construction, and nonprofit sector. As a certified ENVISION Sustainability Professional, Ethel has facilitated over 30 training sessions with clients inside the US as well as 9 other countries, including Canada, Spain, Italy, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and Pakistan. And this should show you how much interest to ENVISION training and ENVISION rating system right now in the world and how many people want to learn more about this. Ethel is an LA City Mayoral appointee and a chair on the Historic Preservation Overlay Zone Adams-Normandie board. Ethel is the president-elect of the Filipino American Society of Architects and Engineers. She is also a fundraising chair for the Construction Management Association of America Southern California chapter, spearheading its very first 5K run benefit program. And I'm training and definitely planning to attend, and hopefully I will also put together a video on this event. Ethel Rubio is my very good friend. She is also a teacher, a mentor, and a true advocate for women. And today, she will be sharing with us her insight to the Sustainable Built Environment rating system. Tune in to find out what ENVISION rating system is and how can you become an ENVISION accredited professional. Hello, hi Ethel, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me today.
This is very nice.
I know, right?
I'm
This
so glad
beautiful.
we're here.
I know, it's also nice weather,
Yes.
right?
How often do you do that?
This is actually my third time that I'm crossing the bridge. I love it.
Yes, thank you so much for joining. Okay, let's get right into this. You're an ENVISION training provider. How long have you been doing this, and how did you first start and got involved with ENVISION?
Surprisingly, I actually did this only most recently. I got my Envision training during the pandemic, although I know about it before then. As a small business, you always strive to look for something that will add to the entree of your services. And I feel that sustainability is a one big part of it. And so when I saw Envision, I saw that this is really going to complement my enterprising business. So anyway, yeah, I got my Envision credential at the beginning of the pandemic and then also trained for becoming a trainer. And then I started doing full time just most recently, like as early as last year. So yeah.
And you started your career as an architect, but now your specialty is sustainability. Why such a change?
Yeah, so yeah, well, my practice has been trying to figure out how I can show my skills and talents.
Mhm.
And when I started my journey as an architect, I never thought I'd even become my own, have my own company and all this because I said, okay, architecture, then 20 years at a company as architecture firm, and then you're gonna like 20 to 25 years, 30 the max, and you're gonna retire. But apparently I discovered when I graduated that is a very volatile career because it's a project based, right? So one project is done, and if your company does not get another one, then you're out the door. Like it's kind of so I was looking more for something that I can control. And so over the years, I've found myself finding out my strengths and, that will help me with my career to move forward with my personal growth. And I found that teaching is actually one of the talents that I actually like to do and good at. So when sustainability came forward and Envision in particular, I figured like, well, not many people really know about it. So for me, it's kind of like a blend of doing business development and through education. And so that's why I was drawn to doing Envision training.
That's great. That's a great story.
I took one of my clients to do a power walk meeting.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Was it effective?
very effective. It was fun, and we got to talk a lot about productive things. So yeah, I think that should be the way to go. When you have meetings, you're just not sitting on on your table or conference room.
Right. Sitting is the new smoking,
I
right?
know. Exactly. So need to be active.
Look at the structure. Wow, that's
Yeah.
big.
So what is Envision? And where does it apply?
So Envision is a framework that is developed by the Institute for Sustainable Infrastructure, and it can just the systemic changes in the planning design of sustainable, more resilient, and equitable infrastructure. So basically, it's through education, training, and of course, third-party verification.
And what is the Envision rating system? And is it similar to the LEED? Because LEED is a rating system everybody's familiar with, and it's recently became part of California Building Code. It gets it as a green code. It partially gets incorporated into other standards. But Envision, that's something new that's recently been presented to us.
Yeah, so this came about like in 2012, around that time, over 10 years ago. And it's actually, if LEED is for building human occupied, Envision is for anything that's horizontal structures and non-human occupied. So this would be the bridges, roads, parks, you name it, that would be the main difference. So that's why there was Envision, a march towards doing Envision recently because we have a lot of infrastructures that's going up, and you can't really the lead metrics is not enough to cover that.
So how does Envision work? Is it similar to LEED, or it has point system, or how is it?
So I'm not familiar with LEED altogether because I've not gotten my LEED certification. But all I know is with Envision, it's pretty straightforward and very simple to use because it encompasses 5 categories. You know that because you're an Envision sustainability professional, and then you have 64 credits that you can basically apply to review the sustainability of a project.
And when should we use Envision? What are the good projects to apply it? And who does this work usually? Is it designer, architect? Who on the team usually does the certification?
Oh my goodness. Everybody who works in the built environment and working on an infrastructure project needs to know about Envision. And that's actually the main marketing or, what do you call that? The main promotion that I do is that it's not only limited to the civil engineers or the architects who are working on the project or even the landscape architect. It's actually even from the owner side, right? Like the people who make the decision are the ones that really need to know about Envision because it really starts from the beginning. You can't just like apply it in the middle during design phase. It actually starts when you start thinking about the project that you're working on and how you basically strategically build that for move forward. So the sustainability measures should come from the beginning, and that also encompasses having the owners also learn about Envision, and then everybody in between, from the business development, procurement officers, everybody in the system, even cost estimators, because you need to know what the cost of sustainability, right? In order to basically make it to for the project. Does that help?
Yes, of course.
I wonder what features they did to get the Envision such a high rating. Do you know what?
Well, first of all, in general, just
Just the fact that it's here, right?
it's here, and then also having the urban space developed around here. That really makes for sustainable feature. And then all the stakeholders are on board in creating this structure just to actually reinforce the original, right? I mean, like, of course they did changes on the design, but yeah, reinforce the existing and just create a lovely place to really be engaging to people, not just to cars. So we
Right.
have this
The
pedestrian.
pedestrian, the bike lane.
Yeah.
And what are the benefits of using Envision?
So Envision is basically a sustainability metrics, right? So you basically say that, if we do all these things that's in the 64 credit parameters, then you'll have a sustainable development. And so Envision actually helps with creating and having sustainable thinking from the get-go and not just an afterthought. And so for me, that actually has to do with the cost of the project. For the most part, people think that, oh, if we implement sustainability in a project, it's going to cost us much. But actually, in reality, when you implement it late in the phase of the project, that's where the high cost happens. But if you really start from the beginning, then there's going to be more forethought on what materials to use, how you're going to recycle the materials that have been created from your project, all those things, and also how the project actually complements the environment, right? So you're not just plopping like a bridge over a long expanse of a, let's say, greatly high species habitat, environment. You have to make sure that you complement that environment, and actually earns you points for doing that.
Oh, wow. So how is Envision structured? What are the categories?
So there are 5 categories. There's the quality of life, leadership, resource allocation, natural world, and climate resilience. And just thinking about those 5 categories, it's not really a metric just for the designers to use, right? So that's how you see where everybody in the ecosystem of a project construction or a project is actually essential in making this work.
Okay, so can we go quickly through categories so our listeners can know a little bit more about it? Let's say first one is the quality of life, right? Like what is encompassed in this category?
So, for this category, like just doing a high level thing, because if we're gonna really talk about all the levels, we'll be here for like 8 hours, which pretty much is the whole Envision, training. So with quality of life, you talk about the well-being of the community, and also during construction and after construction. And
Mhm.
then you also talk about mobility, how it's going to affect the whole community that's going to be involved or impacted by the
Mhm.
project. And just also community, what do you call it? Community involvement in the project. So you are building something in a place where it's going to affect a community, even a small one or a large one, it's going to affect. And so you need to have like a buy-in and also make sure that you have a certain way of making sure that they don't disrupt the environment. And
Mhm.
that includes the people that's in it.
Okay. Category two is leadership. Is it about leadership of the project, of the people who are involved with the project, or reaching out to the community? How is the leadership
That's
category
a very
called?
good question.
Mhm.
So the leadership part of it, and that's why I said that the owners are really critical in, making sure that the Envision rating is good and it's actually very inclusive because in this category, the leader in leadership, that's where you count the collaboration efforts, the
Mhm.
planning efforts, and also think about what it's going to do to the economy of the community once the project is built. And so we're talking about workforce development to that extreme, from like even starting a community engagement program so that you get buy-in from your community. So this one, it takes up quite a lot on the beginning of the project, more than like when it's already, starting.
So community outreach is something that would be required on the
Yep.
Envision
Yeah,
training?
envision. Yep. Yep. And also to the other extreme is that how can you use local workforce
Mhm.
to build on this project? So you get points for doing that too. And it's actually like having the economy be part of I mean, like having the community part of the economic ecosystem, right?
Mhm.
That's you don't want to just like fly or drive, tens of thousands of workers from another state to work on your project. I mean, using your community to do that will help with the economy of
Mhm.
economic viability of your community that you're affecting.
Wow, that's really
Yeah, and
big.
then yeah, I know, right? And so that's the reason why I feel that really everybody in the whole project, from the owner to the end, end of project people are involved because there's a continuous, back and forth with the community as well. So that's, like making sure that they're actually have the most important is the buy-in, right? And especially on projects that require the vote to be approved, and like millions of dollars of projects. So these are the community that you want to make sure that they understand and are with you, because if the measures that come out, if they don't understand what you're doing, they will not vote for for the measures that will fund your
Mhm.
project.
Mhm. And is it mostly public projects or sometimes there's private projects that go
It
through Envision as well?
it's actually mostly public projects,
Mhm.
because infrastructure projects are public projects. And like going back to your lead differentiation, lead projects are mostly private projects.
Dry and ugly.
Right.
And then you come this way and it's so beautiful.
So somebody landscaped it, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
not like
yeah.
I mean, they try to bring back natural habitat, but it seems like it's designed. It's not just
Exactly, yeah. Because you have like a big thing there and then it funnels down, right, like that. Yeah. So I think yeah, it's been
it's like
designed.
wetlands, and they brought all the wetlands native plants here.
Yeah, exactly.
Category three is a resource allocation. What is covered in that category?
For resource allocation, what's covered is the waste, energy, and water resources, or how to use, the water have been used and all that stuff. So in this particular category, a lot of calculations are done, and so this is where you really look at, the experts in in energy, and also experts in water, use of water, and how that affects the project. So this is really the part where you need other team members to work with you, to make sure that you get the numbers that you need for this category.
And category 4 is a natural world, but we obviously inside the built environment. So what is included in that category? How is
That's a very
yeah.
good question. Thank you, Julia, for that one. So, like what I said earlier, when you build an infrastructure, it's not just you're plopping something from outer space and providing it or constructing it in an area. You have to make sure that you are respectful with the environment, and if there's anything that has to do with impacting the species, the environment, the water flow, the natural habitat of certain species. If they are disrupted, then you're not building a sustainable project.
Category 5 and the last category is climate and resilience. Is this about climate change, or what is covered in that category?
That's a very good question. So it is about climate change, but particularly it's about addressing the emissions and being able to talk about resilience, how we respond to the current climate in our environment. And so when you do something, you want to make sure that you're not adding more carbon footprint to the environment, because that impacts the carbon footprint of the global thing, right? And so that's where I think that, and that's where the envision is very important, is addressing that, because you want to make sure that if you are building something, you want to make sure that, well, how can we use materials, or how can we lower the amount of emission that's being impacted for this project. So even like how many trucks are coming in to bring all the materials, so you want to make sure that those are counted into consideration.
So does it help and guide you to reduce the carbon footprint during construction and operation?
Yes, that's the main point. So
Mhm.
complete construction and operation, you have to make sure that you have lower carbon emission, and that's the whole thing. And then how do you mitigate that, right? So if you actually, for some reason you have this project and you have identified the emission levels, and so how do you mitigate that over a period of time during its operation lifetime? Yeah.
And besides these 5 categories, is there a room for innovation within this rating
Oh,
system?
oh yeah, absolutely. Innovation is the heart of the Envision, because, we have a sustainable, it's about sustainability development, right? So we may not even know the answers right now if we don't have a metric to use it for. And so it's actually about problem solving, right? Like, how can you solve a problem using new ways to think about it? So innovation is a very big part of it, and each category actually has room for innovation.
Oh, that's great. So what is Envision verification system? How do I know if I'm actually meeting my goals?
So that's a very good question. So when you go through the Envision process, you don't necessarily have to have a third party verification. That's an optional thing. So that means that you're going to officially get like a platinum award, a gold award, or but have not, even a verified award. So when you go through it, there is a simple metric that you can use on your ISI online account, and that will help you determine if you would like to go through the actual Envision verification process. So, but just learning for you to know that you are going through the metrics and, having your project like going in that, direction, you don't have to get the verification award. But if you do want to do a verification award, then there's, of course, the next step after you do the self-assessment, which you can do for free, then you can do for the actual verification process.
And when do I need to start verification? Is it after the construction is done, post-construction, or do I need to do certain verifications during construction or even during design phase?
So
When do
that's
I need to decide to sign up for it and actually do the paperwork?
Yeah, so that's a very good question. There are actually two pathways in achieving the verification process. First one is during the design phase, and then the second one is post-construction. So with the pathway A, we call it during the design phase. That's when you actually try to make sure that Envision is already all the 64 credits are really assessed, and then you have a goal that because most of the credits may apply to during construction, so you kind of like identify first based on your submittal that you are actually having a this much of sustainability, right? And then people who verify it, they're third-party verifiers, they'll say like you're going to get a gold after this, but then we'll come back after construction and make sure that you actually are adhering to all the things that you said you're going to do. That's why you earned that level of award, right? So that's the first one. And the second one is you can just do it all the way after construction. So I'm post-construction. So for the most part, design build is doing the post-construction, and then the pathway where you start in the design is more the traditional way of doing construction.
Design bid build probably does it in two steps.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's really amazing. This is the first time I actually have seen it in person. I only see it in photos, and now I see it in person, and I love it.
I think this is amazing. I see all these people living here, residential development, and the bike lane on other side of the river. I can see how terrifying it would be. Like your windows is facing the river, you see the bike lane, but you cannot access it, right? Because you're on the other side.
I know, exactly.
And suddenly you have the bridge and you can exercise every morning, bike or hike or run.
Exactly, and that's actually what makes those sustainable features for this particular project, right? I mean, it's connecting the community to its surroundings. And I think that's one of the greatest things.
Are there any examples, projects maybe local to Los Angeles we know about that did paperwork?
Yeah, exactly. You've been to my class. I always love sharing this because the LAX People Mover, even though it's still under construction, right, and it's almost done, they actually earned gold in 2022. And, there's just so many details about why it's great, and they can always go online on the ISI website for project verified, just to see the details. But that's one. And then the second one is the 6th Street Viaduct Seismic Improvement Project. That earned platinum also in 2022. And so that one, have you been to the bridge? It's less than 2 miles, and one morning I just walked in, and it's so beautiful. You have to do it.
Yes, I did. Maybe we do the hike together and see
I
the bridge. Let's
know.
do that.
And then the third one, which is most recently, it got gold in 2023, and it's the Los Angeles Riverway in San Fernando Valley area. So that one is mostly bikeways, pathways, and all that stuff. But see the difference, like you have the LAX people mover, right?
Right.
And that's in the airport. Then you have the viaduct, District Viaduct, and that's a bridge. And then you have the Los Angeles Riverway, which is actually a pathway and urban park. So those are three different types of infrastructure that Envision actually was applied to.
Totally. I'm actually consulting to the airport on automated people mover as well as
That's
landside
right.
access modernization program. And I was not aware that the project I'm involved with received Envision because we have so many things going on at the same time.
Exactly.
That's really great to know. And
Yeah.
with the aqueduct, I also had a story. When I was employed with the SOM years ago, we actually competed for this project and we did sidewalk for the old bridge and took pictures and we tried to design because SOM wanted to be one of the designers, but we didn't get the project. But I think the project that city selected eventually is really great. And yes, I've seen it and I really love it. I think it brought up Los Angeles to totally different level
Oh
as a
yeah.
city. It's just
I'm
really,
excited. Yeah, I'm
yeah.
excited how that's gonna all roll out, right? Because I think because they're doing it for the Olympics and of course for the future of Los Angeles. So it would be really great to see how that's gonna roll out.
Envision accredited professionals, how can they help within the process of project achieving Envision rating?
Oh, that's a very good question. So, basically, they need to just make a decision if they want to get their credential, right? It's actually a designation. So ENVSP is the final designation you're gonna get, and that actually constitute letting other people know that you are capable of doing Envision assessments. And also you have sustainability in mind, and especially infrastructure. So the process is they just sign up for a class. It's 8 hours long for in person, and most of the time I've been doing it virtually for like for 2 days of 4 hour sessions, and that should do it. And then after that, you take an online exam, and the beautiful part of it is that it's an open book, so you don't have to memorize anything. The reason it's an open book is because you are actually being tested on how familiar you are with the Envision Guidance Manual, which is actually what it called the Bible of ISI in infrastructure. So that's really why it is an open book. So all the answers are on there, and so once you pass the exam, then you get your credential.
And how difficult is the exam? Is it how much do I need to study to pass? Oh,
You tell me. You're the one who took the.
um,
What's your thought about that?
I studied, well, I think your training was great. I've learned so much. I probably studied for a couple weeks, I don't know, maybe 20 hours a week. So I studied for some time, but I was very surprised that I passed the first time. It was not easy.
Yeah, right. I mean, like some people are just so right. What I've noticed, some people are just so excited after my training that I said, like, you can even take it as quickly as after I check you off present on my role. And then people are motivated by that and challenged, and then they tell me like a couple hours or 4 or 5 hours later, it's like, oh, I passed the exam. I did it for one take, and so I'm happy about that, right? Because like because you study, like you do the training, and most of them are very we cover pretty much everything, and it's very engaging platform, right? And then once you're done with it, then most of the time those still remain in your head, and you're able to do it quickly right away. But if you really take longer, then I'm glad that you actually studied and reviewed for it before you took the exam. So yeah, it depends. Like some people do it like in less than 3 hours. I've heard people do it for 4 hours, but you actually have up to 72 hours from, clicking that start exam button to complete it. So a lot of leeways for you to really pass the exam for the first time.
I think that I have this idea, wild idea, that because I'm an Envision trainer, I was thinking maybe in addition to doing the actual training for Envision credential, I would give a tour of all the places.
That's
that-
such a great
right?
idea, Ethel. You
What do you
should
think?
do that.
Okay.
Definitely.
Okay.
So how people could sign up for your training?
So for the most part, they can just reach out to me. I mean, I'm big on LinkedIn. People can find me there. You can show it on the bottom of my.
Oh, I definitely will. Absolutely. I will.
Yeah, you show me there, and then for public, when I have public sessions, I usually post it from the ISI website. But yeah, I mean, they can just connect with me and let me know. I mean, I can, the smallest group I've done is with the one person, and then the largest one I've done is like over 30. So it really depends, in person or virtually.
I was going to ask, so do you usually do face-to-face, like we did, or do you do also remote? Either way.
That's a very good question because in the beginning when I started this, I said coming out of the pandemic, right? Like a lot of people are doing Zoom, and so I said like, okay, I'm gonna focus on providing in-person classes, which actually for the most part a lot of people were clinging up to it too, responding to that very positively. But then when I thought about it, it's like, well, how about the other people who can't do an in-person in their area or region? So that's when I started doing virtual trainings. And it has helped because I've trained, professionals, from other countries. So it's been a global thing for me actually, which is like really fascinating how I've reached so many people. And that's why from the in the beginning of our session, I basically said that, it's actually very rewarding for me because you reach out to people that you can not normally reach if you have just limited in your local environment. So when the virtual training really helped me do a larger outreach for ISI, in particular in sharing the concepts of Envision and having people get excited about getting their Envision credentials.
That's great. How many people went through your training and passed the exams so far?
So I counted it last night. I said, I just want to make sure I give you the right numbers. So all in all, there is from the time I started last year in September, I had like a total of 176 people who went through my class, and then about 136 of them got their credential, which about 77% conversion rate. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited because some people, like, I even followed up with them, like, if you have any questions, I mean, I think that's the key for teaching Envision or any type of teaching is you want to make sure that you follow up with your students, not like just, you do the training and then that's it. I mean, the big difference of having me as a trainer is that they get this constant follow-up and reminder. And also I do a shout out for them on social media when they do pass the exam. So it's really a fun way to take Envision training to the next level. It's encouraging for others. And then that actually also help promote ISI and its Envision, program, right?
Yes. Yeah, this is a lot of people. This is really incredible.
I cannot believe I've done that too. Like I think over 8 countries. So I'm not talking like was like wow. When I just went through my numbers, like oh my gosh, 8 countries, And then like, I thought I was just like, focusing on Los Angeles, but like over 10 states in the United States. I mean, like that's
Wow.
amazing. So the more I can do it, I mean, I love to do it because it's just, for me, being with ISI and really promoting sustainability, it's not just like about teaching it, right? It's about really, trying to make everybody aware of what it is. And so the impact I'm making, outside of Los Angeles is really very rewarding for me.
I love it. I'm so glad that we did this today.
And this is like a picture. You can just take this photo and hang on your wall. Isn't it?
Exactly.
It's so perfect, right?
Yeah, I wonder who did the landscape for this one. We should check it out. Check it out sometime. Let's see here. Yeah, look at that. That's so pretty.
Yeah, but you're making social impact outside of Envision as well. I know you're very involved with the community, personally as well as a business. So would you like to share a little bit about that? About other
Yeah.
projects? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, you can't just like do your business and make money, right? For me, it's really important to make an impact in my community, especially the Filipino community in my area, and also the professional community for that fact, and also with the larger community where I am in. So for one thing, I'm sitting on the historical preservation overlay zone for Los Angeles, the city of Los Angeles, and that was actually an appointed position. Initially, I was appointed by former Mayor Garcetti, and then when I had to renew it, Mayor Karen Bass renewed the appointment, so I was reappointed for her. And then, and that's how I make an impact in the, city of LA, right? I mean, like, of course, it's all volunteer and all that stuff, but, you come into projects where, you help make a decision if it's good for Los Angeles or not. And so for me, that really helps a lot, and in making an impact in the community. And then in my professional, I've been a member of, Asian American Architects and Engineers. Currently, I'm actually actively involved with the Construction Management Association of America, CMAA, and then in their foundation board. And I'm doing fundraising for them as a fundraising chair that benefits the workforce development in the construction industry. So I really feel that we can make an impact that way as well for me. And then lastly, I'm the Vice President, President-elect of the Filipino American Society of Architects and Engineers in Southern California. And it's about really bringing the Filipino American community in the construction industry. For most part, I want to make sure that they have a community that they can, thrive in, and also build their professional growth. So those who are not able to do it in the sphere of their work, they can actually come out and just build camaraderie among all Filipino Americans in the community to do that.
That's incredible.
Thank you. I appreciate that question.
And what are you planning for your business? What are the next steps? How do you
Oh,
planning
yeah.
to
So
grow?
a big part of this, like what I said earlier, a big part of being involved in the training and it's promotion, right? So you're promoting Envision to make sure that it's used by the construction industry to work implement it on their projects. And so the next step is really working on making sure that I'm part of a team that assesses the project, the sustainability of projects. So I've been involved in pursuits now that is going towards that. And I think that, continue on building the Envision credentialed professional world, help with that one, and also just make sure that there are a lot of Envision projects, or a lot of projects will go through the Envision framework system.
I hope we will get to work on future projects together as well.
I'm excited. Yes, I'm excited. Thank you so much, Julia, for having me. I know that we should, you're doing this during our Thanksgiving weekend, but your work also is about highlighting people and what they do. So thank you so much for the opportunity to be one of your guest speakers, to go through your YouTube channel.
Absolutely. I hope you like this video. If you have any comments, please leave them in the comment box below and subscribe to my YouTube channel, WELLROOM, for more videos like this. Thank you for watching.